When I first looked into bullet journaling, honestly, it was so overwhelming. When I check YouTube, guides for bullet journals, you see a whole list. And after going through nearly 20, I was still confused. What was I going to include in my bullet journal? I spent 5 years perfecting the formula, finding out what works for me, and the pros and cons of each item that I used. In this video, I'm going to show you the benefits and disadvantages of each item I used. And at the end, I'm going to show you my perfect guide to bullet journaling. The first thing I'm going to speak about is a habit tracker. What is a habit tracker? It's very simple. A habit tracker is a journal in which you can track your habits and how many days you do it for. So what would happen, as you can see in the video right now, you can see that I was tracking the amount of times I listened to my audiobook, the amount of times I listened to a podcast, and the amount of times I went gym. So these are repetitive, but it keeps you accountable because it reminds you that you have to do it. It's really good if you want to keep in control of your habit and make sure you remember to do your habit. But there's a lot of negatives when it comes to this. When you look at a habit, you kind of want to make your habit dependent on cues. So for example, if you want to use your phone less, what you can do is put your phone on charge and go downstairs and watch TV or do something else. So you want to set up cues for yourself. However, if you look at this tracker and you see that you have to go gym, but what if you haven't placed the cues in place? If you haven't placed the cues in place, technically that habit won't work, because at the end of the day, all you do is taking it off. It will make you accountable, but what the lesson I learned was using the habit tracker, it will remind you to do it. However, there's also a disadvantage where you underestimate the value of cues. You underestimate having your gym clothes ready in the morning, and those cues are more likely to make you go gym than for you to make sure you tick off a certain thing on your journal. And it doesn't make you feel bad. For example, if I missed a day of gym because I was tired or something along those lines, I won't feel as bad. But if I looked at my journal and I saw that I didn't do it for that day, I'll start to have this negative talk that will put me down. And sometimes that did more damage than actually not doing the habit. So this is one of the reasons why I did use a habit tracker for a while, but as time went on, I slowly just stopped using it, and I slowly just moved towards other things. The next item you could put in your journal is a gratitude journal. You may ask what a gratitude journal is. A gratitude journal is a journal where you state 3 things that you're grateful for every single day. Honestly, the advantages to this are too many. It improves your self-esteem, improves your mental health, and makes you overall grateful for the world. However, there's a lot of negative things that could come from it. When you write a gratitude journal, what I realized was I was being grateful for the things I had, for the car I had, for the people I had, and for the items I had. And it made me very, very materialistic. And I realized that because I was so grateful for materialistic things, it was doing more damage because I didn't feel like I had any value in my life. And you realize that your mind naturally becomes very, very grateful for what you have, the items you have. So that's why I stopped doing it after a few months. However, if you find spiritual enlightenment, or you find something that you're really grateful for in your life, for example, I'm very grateful for having a house. I'm very grateful for having people in my life, the people in my life who are patient with me and love me, whatever happens. Those things are great to be grateful for. But when you repeat the same thing over and over again, it becomes repetitive. And after that, you start doing materialistic things. So if you could think of small things that you can be grateful for, maybe the sunlight, maybe the air we breathe, and if you can continue doing the small things, then maybe it's a great habit that you could put into your journal. The next item is a task list. You may ask what a task list is. It's just a list where you write the tasks you need to do. Very simple, very basic. Honestly, this has been a lifesaver. My memory, honestly, is so bad that I'll forget something you told me yesterday. And that's how bad it is. But this journal has helped me a lot, because what has happened is whenever I needed to do something for someone, I've just kept a list and then I've ticked it off one by one. As you can see, there's so many things on the page that you can put on. And there's so many things that you can remind yourself, even the basic things like cut my nails or wash my clothes. Those are things I put on my journal, which has helped me to become the person I am today. It's improved my productivity and it reduced my stress a lot because I don't need to think about what I need to do. The only disadvantage I can think of, if I'm going to be very, very honest with you, is if your task list gets too big. If your task list gets too big, it can be very, very overwhelming. There's been moments where I've looked at my task list and I've not wanted to do it. So the recommendation, when you have a list that's too big, focus on one item at a time. Just focus on one item at a time, or maybe set 3 tasks that you have to do that are non-negotiables, and then work it from there. The next thing I'm going to talk about, and item number 4, is journaling / brain dump. It's just a journal where you just talk about how you're feeling, what you're looking forward to, and what's happened in the previous weeks as well. This has a lot of positives because what you're doing is writing everything in your head into a page. And when you write it into a page, you let go of all the feelings and all the stress. And it's really good because you can look back at this journal and see how you felt, how you overcome certain challenges. The only disadvantage I can think of this one is it can kind of cause you to overthink. There's been moments where I've talked about a situation in my book, and after I've talked about it, I've realized that I'm thinking about it more than I should, because you're giving it more emphasis. And because of that, sometimes there's a lot of pros and cons to this, because, for example, if you're writing down a lot of negative thoughts, you can naturally become more negative. So it's about balancing it out. Making sure you write down your stresses, but don't overdo it in a sense that it causes you more anxiety. It makes you feel more anxious about the things you need to do. But other than that, I think journaling is a must, if I'm going to be honest with you. The next thing I'm going to talk about is scheduling your week. Very basic, just what you're going to do every single day and the tasks you're going to do. It's good, for example, for me, when I have Toastmasters, I get a reminder on my phone saying I've got Toastmasters and I've scheduled it within the week. Even when I go Muay Thai, it's been scheduled within the week. These things work in accordance and they're not bad. Schedule's not bad because it gives you a very, very good structure. However, the disadvantages to scheduling, even though it can keep you structured and help you out with your pattern and knowing what you need to do, it can be very rigid because you're expected to do this item at this time at that time, this item at another time. And sometimes, if you miss one item, you slowly start to lose the rhythm that you were on. And after a while, you stop using the journal in a sense. And that's the problem with a calendar, is you have to make it so it's malleable. So you can change it whenever you want. So in a certain time, you could say you're going to rest, but you may want to do work. So you can do work at that time. Do what you're feeling. Don't always be fixated on doing the journal and doing the calendar and following that calendar. That's the most important thing. The next item is affirmations. Affirmations have been a habit that a lot of people use. And with affirmations, if I'm going to be honest with you, they make you feel good about yourself. And it improves your mood so much because you talk to yourself in a positive manner. When you look at the page right now, you see I say I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm valued, I'm loved. These are affirmations that really, really improve my mood and really, really improve the way I think about myself. However, there are a few negatives. If you don't believe in those affirmations, nothing will actually happen because you have to manifest it. You have to feel what you're saying and you have to tell yourself. And with that, you have to believe everything you're saying. And that's the thing with affirmations. If you say it with no care in the world, then those affirmations will not come true and not help you. But if you say it with passion and you believe it in yourself, those affirmations can be game changing and you can manifest the person you want to be. The 7th item you can put is religious teachings. What I mean by religious teaching is I like to take quotes and certain lessons that the gods bestowed on us. Being a devoted Hindu, I like to read the religious texts. I like to understand my religion. And it connects me to my religion, really reading those religious teachings. And it also, I've realized, is it gives me moral and ethical guidance. So certain days, I'll be honest with you, sometimes I wake up angry, I wake up annoyed, and I wake up like, just want to unleash myself. But after reading my religious teachings, it teaches me very, very principled livings. It teaches me how to keep myself and how to act. And those teachings have helped me. The only negative thing I can think of when it comes to religious teachings is not to misinterpret their teachings. Because a lot of Hinduism can be good, but a lot of it can be bad. That's with every single religion. We can take it in the basic way, where it's what it's meant to be, and we can also make it extreme. And that's where you need to understand the depth and knowledge that the gods will kind of bestow on you. So it's important to always dwell in it deeply and pay attention to this. And I think is one of the game changers, if I'm going to be honest with you. So we've talked about all 7 habits, our items that I've used in my journal. Number 1, habit tracker. Number 2, gratitude journal. Number 3, task list. Number 4, journaling / brain dump, because it kind of technically come up on the same thing. 5, schedule. 6, affirmation. And 7, religious teachings. And now I'm going to come to the conclusion and show you what my perfect journal is. On the first page of my perfect journal, I have affirmations. Those affirmations read, I love myself, I'm smart, I am beautiful, I'm more than enough. And these affirmations first started off as the first 5 sentences. But as time went on, I realized that I was picking up new teachings, which I really liked. And as those teachings increased, I decided to increase my list. I decided to make it better. And affirmations honestly has been a game changer. Every single morning, it has allowed me to manifest these feelings, to manifest how I should be feeling. And honestly, 100% recommend it. On the next page, I have religious teachings. So as you can see here, Lord Shiva, his blue throat shows his fearlessness and also to have control over anger, which must be transformed in a constructive manner. His blue throat, and what I mean by fearlessness, is when he drank the poison to save the world. When I talk about having control over anger, it's also the lessons that he taught about meditation and how to always be calm and not to be reactive as bad things can happen. As you go through the teachings, you can see that I have Lord Shiva, I also have Shakti as well as Shiva, which honestly I think gives the perfect meaning, because it states that everyone is male and female, light and dark, flesh and spirit, and they're perfectly balanced in every single moment. And even with creation and destruction, Shiva is the god of destruction, and he teaches us that this is a process of life. Creation, the middle, where time goes on, and then destruction. And this cycle repeats over and over again. I also have Lord Ganesh, or in what we say in Tamil, Pillayar, who taught us to never ever show off belongings. And also, brawn isn't always the answer, and to use intelligence. Kalima, who talks about the death of the ego, and Lord Murugan, the god of war, who said, do not feel discouraged and to do not lose hope during bad times. These teachings keep me connected to my ancestors. A lot of people say with Hinduism, there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't understand about Hinduism. But Hinduism is our culture. And as much as people say I believe Hinduism is a way of living. And it's taught me a lot. And these teachings I keep close to my heart. The next part I have is a task list. So a task list is very simple. it's a list of things I need to do. So I've got Toastmasters, I've got to redo my speech, YouTube, cash collection, trim meaning a haircut, and those are things it's been a game changer because it's kept me accountable on what I need to do so I don't forget it. And during each day, I have a certain routine that I want to show you. The routine consists of me just talking about the feeling. So when you look at one of my teachings or one of my pages, it states, today I'm feeling, let's say, bad because I've just had bad things happen to me. However, it's time for me to move forward. So that way, I'm not overthinking the negative emotions. I'm just explaining on a page what is happening, what has happened in my life, what's making me feel bad, and also what can make me feel good as well. And during each day, I put 3 non-negotiables that I have to do on that day. I'll be honest, I am a bit not always on the right side of the page, if I'm going to be honest with you. But I have been very, very consistent. It is a variation of monk mode because monk mode states that you have to do a number of non-negotiables, and this is a slight variation. But it helps me and it keeps me accountable. And that's it. I get it. Every other person has page over page over page on this journal. But I've told you, across the 5 years I've been doing journaling, I have had habit tracker, gratitude journal. Can't think of anything right now, but I had 7 habits that I put in on that page, and I put so many more things. When I flick through my journal, you can see there's a lot of things that are on there. But as time went on, you see what works for you and see what works for me. So all you have to do is, I recommend try every single one. See which one works for you. Okay? Because something that works for me may not work for you. But what you need to do is go through each one, test it out, see how you feel about it, see if it improves you and gives you a number of benefits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. For example, when you look at the schedule, with the schedule, I like to use Google Calendar because it's easy, it's simple, and I can change it on my phone quickly. If I write on paper, I can't change it, and it's fixed. And when am I going to look at my journal and look at my calendar? I'm going to use my phone to look at my calendar. So small things like that, like you don't always need to put this on your journal. You can put it somewhere else. So this is my perfect guide to the perfect journal. If you like the video, please subscribe and like, and hopefully I see you soon.